Hello, everyone, and welcome to day one of the Sugar Detox Challenge. I'm so grateful to have you here today because the truth is if you're here, you're really struggling with sugar. And the reality is that sugar often is hijacking your hormones. It's making you exhausted, crave more, and what I'm going to teach you today what you get to do about it, right? So I just really welcome you because showing up shows me that you really want to heal. Hi, I'm Dr. Holly Donahue, and let me say this really loud and clear to you that this is just not about cutting out sugar. This is truly reclaiming control over your energy, your cravings, your sleep, and even your confidence in your body to help you transform your body. So raise your hand if you're an individual that craves sugar, you're wired and tired, and you just can't stop. And let me know, just put me in the chat, those of you that are live. If you're not live with me, respond to us in the community so that we can support you. This is what we're here for. So we have a sugar detox community that you can sign into. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the team. I want you to grab your journal. Truly, please engage in the chat. Real change starts when you engage, and I get to see where you're at because the truth is I know where my patients are at and I know where I'm at, and I know where so many are at, but I don't know where you're at. And every time I do an event, and I show up and I listen to somebody else, I always have my notebook in hand and I'm always taking notes because this way it's going in our brain. So when we're taking notes, you're talking to your body, you're hearing what I say, and then you're starting to learn and listen. So I want to start today right off the bat, like the real reason that you can't stop eating sugar. How many of you, just like me, this used to be me as well, you swore or you told yourself, I'm going to start on Monday. I'm just going to get through the weekend and I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to just get on my diet, right? That everybody talks about. I got to get on my diet. And then by Wednesday, you're exhausted, you're stressed out, something happened at work, something happened with your family, and you blow it. And then you beat yourself up that you couldn't make it through, right? I've been there. That used to be me. And it was like this roller coaster ride. And then it could also feel like sugars are controlling your thoughts. And guess what? It's usually around 2 to 3 p.m. when you're exhausted. And we're going to talk about why, but it has to do with your blood sugar dropping, you not having enough protein and healthy fats in there. Hence, you're just like, I need more sugar to get through the day so that you can show up at night and cook for yourself or your family or whatever your schedule is at night. Or the other time that many people crave sugar is around 9 p.m. or so, right before they go to bed, right? If that's you in the chat, drop me. The other piece is you've eaten clean all day. You've gotten your healthy fats and vegetables and proteins that we always talk about, those of you that are live with me again today. But then at night, you begin to binge on carbs and sweets or wine. And that is the moment that your willpower wears off. Okay. It's not that you're undisciplined, it's that your biology and hormones are out of balance. I want to share with you that sugar addiction, it's chemical. It's not immoral. And your willpower will leave you in a moment. So depending on willpower is not your best choice. Your cravings are not emotional weaknesses. They are truly driven from your brain and your hormones and even nutrient depleted cells that are screaming for, hey, balance me. I need some more sugar. So let's talk about what that actually means, okay? So we're looking at sugar and we're looking at the brain and we're looking at dopamine and how the brain becomes hijacked from sugar. You know what? And this is the science nobody talks about because you just decide, like, I'm going to stop eating sugar cold turkey. And the other thing that I'm going to talk about today is you want to believe that you can actually do that. Many people don't believe it because they've quote unquote failed because you call yourself a failure, not confident with yourself, right? But here's the science between the brain and sugar and dopamine. Sugar lights up your brain's dopamine centers just like a drug. Yep, it literally does, like the same part of the brain as cocaine does. But you don't think about it. I remember when I saw my first naturopath, and he said to me one day, and it has stuck with me. Sugar is like a drug. It's an acceptable drug. It gives you a high and it gives you a low, and you need more, right? That's exactly what's happening in your brain. And that first bite of sugar that you go back to, you feel absolutely amazing. But then that amazingness, as I say, that drops off. So then you reach for more. And over time, you need more sugar to have that same awesome feeling. So, what I want to say to you today is that sugar just doesn't give you the energy. It actually hijacks your brains and your pleasure system. So, you begin to stop eating for fuel and you start eating for survival, especially those of you that are stressed out. And we're going to talk about cortisol during this 5-day challenge, but not right now. But what we're talking about right now is this dopamine sugar loop. It's why your stress, your lack of sleep, your attention, and skipping meals are making your cravings worse. Does that make sense? It's making your cravings worse because you've got stuck in this sugar cycle. And it's so challenging for the body. It's what I call the sugar hormonal storm. Why are you storing fat and not burning it? And then you're complaining like that I have this tube around my abdomen. So let's talk about what actually happens so that you begin to understand. And I'm going to, write a story out here, like kind of talk about it in a story form so that you hear what I mean, because I think this is the best way to understand it. So when you eat sugar, it enters your bloodstream. And then your pancreas releases insulin. So insulin spikes, and that insulin is like a carrier and it brings sugars to your cells. And it's like, hey, muscle, do you need some sugar? Nope, I'm all set. Hey, liver, do you need some sugar? Nope, I'm all set. I got enough. And then your brain, no, I'm full. Guess what? Sugar is then stored as fat. It's converted to fat. And that excess fat creates inflammation in the body. And guess what? Inflammation's not your friend because it throws off your entire immune system and your hormonal system. And you can end up in this pattern over and over again. Your body becomes in chaos. And this is truly what's happening inside. Your repeated sugar intake, your cells begin to not listen anymore because they're over. What happens when you're overwhelmed and you're trying to learn something or you're trying to do something and you can't figure it out? You just stop. Well, your cells do the same thing, and then you end up with what we call insulin resistance. And this insulin resistance leads to wired and tired, extreme fatigue, not sleeping well at night, your belly fat around your abdominal area, what we call polycystic ovarian syndrome, prediabetes, and even high blood pressure. So what do we do? This is what we're going to talk about. I just wanted you to understand like what is really happening, because I find like if my patients and clients that show up and really want to fix this, if they understand really what's happening, they're not feeling like they're crazy or broken. They're beginning to understand how something works. And now, how do we fix it? We begin to eat low glycemic carbs, which are like vegetables, not simple starches and sugars. Those would be like white potatoes, white sugars, brown sugars, maple syrup, honey, rices, pastas. Those are simple carbs and they're not low glycemic. And so we want to start to incorporate low glycemic carbs, healthy fats, proteins, don't skip meals, and move our body. What does moving our body do? It helps us burn up the sugar. Okay, so this is truly what's happening with insulin and sugar and your pancreas. And then if your sugar drops too low, glucagon comes and is like, oh, that is released out of the pancreas as well, and it helps you bring up your blood sugar. When you can no longer do that and your pancreas gets tired, guess what? Cortisol comes in. It's like emergency, emergency. I need to help you bring your blood sugar up because your body's like trying to run from that saber-toothed tiger, but it's really not. It really is dropping in blood sugar. In order for the body to survive, it needs to have a balance of blood sugar. Does that make sense? Like that is really the culprit of what's happening inside the body. So I hesitated to want to talk about leptin, but I think these are really important, leptin and ghrelin. Leptin is a hormone because most people, when they think of hormones, right, they think of estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, and maybe melatonin. They don't think of cortisol as a hormone. Yeah, they probably think of thyroid as a hormone. But leptin and ghrelin and cortisol, like they all have this dance in the body. So leptin is the I am full signal. What begins to happen is sugar makes you become leptin resistant. Your brain doesn't know you're full. How many times have you gone and like you've cut like a little piece of chocolate cake because you're at a party and you're like, I just want a little bit. And so you eat a little bit and you're beginning to say to yourself, I can just push that piece of chocolate cake away, right? But then it keeps calling you, well, just eat a little bit more. Just eat a little bit more, right? This is how you can eat an entire piece of cake, not a whole cake, or an entire sleeve of cookies and still feel hungry, right? Because you have become what we call leptin resistant, right? So many people can sit down and eat a whole bag of potato chips, but could you eat a whole 12-ounce piece of steak? Probably not, right? So how do we fix this? Again, it's going to go back to we eat a healthy diet. We begin to reduce our processed foods. We eat healthy protein, healthy fats, healthy complex carbohydrates. We sleep really soundly. We support fat loss this way. This is how we begin to become successful around stopping sugar cravings. Now, if I go to ghrelin, this is the hunger hormone. So guess what we all do? I don't anymore, but I used to be this. This is why I can teach it and speak, and so many patients are struggling with it, right? You do restrictive dieting. Then your sugar spikes, your ghrelin becomes elevated, and it's telling you that you're constantly hungry, right? That's the hunger hormone. So as your sugar is spiking, your ghrelin becomes elevated, right? Your leptin is not there saying I'm full. And so you're constantly hungry. So you eat more. Like, how many times have you finished a really good quality meal and then you want sugar afterwards? Right? You're a little bit addicted to sugar. It happens all the time. So it's so important as we go through this and you think about like what is going to be balanced in my diet. So what do you want to do with ghrelin to help support it and not get stuck so that it really kicks in and says, hey, Sally, you're full today, right? You want to eat protein. You want to eat every 4 to 5 hours. You should not eat every 5 hours if you have sugar cravings and insulin resistance, excuse me. And you should really avoid fasting if you're exhausted. Like, I would not suggest intermittent fasting to somebody when they're struggling with sugar cravings because their whole metabolic system isn't working. Their hormones are imbalanced. What's the key that we have to do? We need to get you on track. I just saw a patient last week and everybody's saying, you need to get on estrogen. You need to get on this. You need to get on that. And I'm like, you need to just fix your stress levels and eat really well because she's only eating one meal a day and she has a very stressful job. So those of you that are here, like this is what I teach my patients. I work with them in the clinic all the time on this, and food is your medicine. So Hippocrates said, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food until your body becomes weakened. And that's when we start to look for other sources that we need, like maybe we're vitamin or mineral deficient. Maybe we need help otherwise, which we're going to talk about. So the last hormone that I want to talk about in this whole scheme of things is cortisol. This is your stress hormone, and this will kick in if you're continually hungry, right? If you're not eating the proper meals, like you're skipping meals, you're over exercising. How many people think like I'll exercise more and eat less and that's how I'll gain weight? No, you're breaking up your metabolism. If you're exercising more, I want you to eat more. So if you're skipping meals, over exercising, you're going to get a sugar crash and you're going to get a cortisol surge. What does high cortisol do? It increases your cravings, your fat storage, and your anxiety. We just talked about it, right? So how do you fix it? You sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. You move your body. You do nervous system regulation work, which you hear me talk about all over the internet. Jump on my YouTube channel, Dr. Holly Donahue, ND, right? I talk about this all the time because many of you have nervous system dysregulation and you're just running and flying. So you want to go into some breathing and reduce caffeine. If you're if you're drinking caffeine for the push for you to stay awake, please stop. If you're just doing it because you enjoy it and you're showing up and you want to drink some caffeine in the morning or coffee, great. I wouldn't do decaf coffee because it's not a whole food. Is this all making sense? So now I really wanted to talk about this. I haven't talked about this in any of my challenges prior, but I want to talk about GLP-1s. GLP-1 is on the receptor of everybody's cells. It is actually the fullness regulator. And this is why everybody's talking about Ozempic and Mounjaro and Wegovy, and everybody's losing all this weight. Those are the injections. Those are the name of the injections if you're not familiar with them. GLP-1 tells your brain that I'm full and I don't need any more food. GLP-1, like I said, it's active on nearly every single cell in your body. And what does it do? It regulates satiety, your blood sugar, your brain so it can be clear and think stronger, and even heart and immune function. This is what these drugs are doing. Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, they're mimicking this. But I'm going to tell you, they don't fix your metabolism. I am not against them. I want to be clear. And microdosing, but they bypass it. And so you really don't need weekly injections to get results unless that's what you want. But really, after that, I don't want you to gain your weight. So if you've done that and you've lost an exorbitant amount of weight or 30 pounds or 15 pounds, congratulations. But let's now start nourishing your GLP-1 system with real food, protein, fat, and fiber. Because now that you come off of it and you're at the weight that you want, move your body and eat healthy foods. Because what happens is many people come off, they don't understand how to eat again, and they gain their weight again. And that's really disappointing, right? Because we have to eat the food from this earth. If you're eating protein at every meal, and I'm going to tell you, you're going to learn that you are probably not eating enough protein. What is your ideal body weight? Whatever it is, you want to eat 1 gram per pound of your ideal body weight. So say your ideal body weight's 150 pounds. You want to eat 125 to 150 grams of protein a day. Yep, it's a lot. But that's how you build muscle. You need those amino acids from protein. Everybody always says your skin is your largest organ. That's not true. Your muscles are. And you want your muscles as you age for the activities of daily living. So you want to think about eating protein at every meal, adding in fermented foods, prebiotics, probiotics, get more sleep, and really reduce processed sugar and processed foods. Eat whole, nutrient-dense foods. Estrogen is also tied to belly fat, mood, and changes because those of you that are stepping into premenopause, perimenopause, postmenopause, it can be a struggle, but it can be fixed. And this patient that I was talking about earlier, I said to her, let's get you on a good quality nutrition plan. Let's get your protein, your healthy fats, and your vegetables in first. Let's build that part. Balance your nervous system so you're not stressed out and you're digesting well. Because, like, when she eats, she doesn't feel really great in her chat. Like, she's not feeling like she's digesting her food because if you're stressed, you can't digest. Hence why we say the parasympathetic is rest and digest. You can't be running away from that bear and digesting at the same time. It's just not possible. So until I look at bioidentical hormones, I want your body to work. Because the truth is that sugar is going to trigger insulin resistance, like we just talked about. It's going to increase aromatase. That's the enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen. This creates estrogen dominance. Hello, PMS and mood swings and stubborn fat. How about if we just look at our sugars first? So it's the same way to fix it. Balancing your blood sugar. If you're somebody that drinks alcohol, I would think twice about it. Alcohol is sugar. And begin to support your detox pathways. The last hormone that I want to talk about, and hopefully I'm not going too fast and that you guys are actually getting it because I'm trying to make it easy like a story. Cholecystokinin, CCK, it's your I'm satisfied hormone. I'm satisfied. I don't need any more. I'm good. Guess how that's activated? By protein and healthy fat. It's not activated by sugar and simple carbs. So guess what you get to do, which we're going to talk a little bit about meal planning, is you get to start your day with like eggs or turkey sausage or protein, some sort of protein that you like. Don't start it with a croissant or a donut or just a piece of toast with peanut butter on it. Like, that's not enough. If you want to do what everybody's doing right now, a piece of toast and avocado, that's great, but have some eggs. Have something else with it that's actually protein driven. So I want to share another real patient story with you who I'm going to call Angela. She came to me 4 years ago, absolutely exhausted. Guess what? Doesn't surprise you. She was trying to lose weight and she was on a low calorie plan. She was skipping meals. She was drinking protein drinks that were loaded with sugar. This is why we got to read our labels. And she was thinking about going on Mounjaro because she couldn't stop craving food, even though she was barely eating. So I took some labs. I just wanted to see where she was at. Guess what? Her hemoglobin A1C was elevated. Her glucose was elevated. Her cortisol was tanked first thing in the morning. She had elevated insulin. She was estrogen dominant. Her gut was dysbiotic, which we're going to talk about in day 3. And her ghrelin was elevated. She didn't need a shot. She could do that if she wanted to. She just needed a quality food plan and a map and a blueprint that fit her, that had protein, magnesium, and sleep because she wasn't sleeping. And guess what? In weeks 3 and 4, her cravings dropped by 70%. And she couldn't believe her energy was coming back. And the cool thing is, she dropped 6 pounds without even trying. just by changing her nutrition plan. And this is what happens when you work with me and you get to the root cause of what's really going on. So many of you are running around in a cortisol high, and you have no idea because this is what you've been doing for a really long time. You've been on the go, you've been pushing, and you haven't put the right fuel in your body. Another thing I always say to patients, which really wakes them up, is like, would you put a quarter a tank of gas in your car and think you can drive 500 miles? No, I bet you wouldn't. Would you not get oil changes consistently in your car, unless you have an electric car, and think it's going to keep going? The engine's going to break down. Same thing with your body. Your body begins to break the metabolism down. Your metabolism begins to break from all the hormones that we just talked about above. So I want you to take 60 seconds right now, and I'm going to give you 3 questions. I'm going to repeat them a couple times because you have your journal in front of you. I want you to reflect. When do your strongest cravings hit? That's question 1. When do your strongest cravings hit? What time? I would even take it to the level as what do you crave? So when do my strongest cravings hit? What is the food that I crave? And then number 2, what foods do I always reach for? These should be simple because if you're really real with yourself, you know what you're reaching for and you know what foods are your biggest cravings. What foods do you always reach for? When you're exhausted, when you're tired, when you want something, when you go to the refrigerator? What is it? What's the food that you always want? And lastly, what is the emotion behind that craving? And I'm smiling because many people don't realize there's an emotion behind a craving. Cravings aren't natural. You've just learned to live with them. But cravings are really telling you that your body is off. So, what emotion is behind your craving? Are you tired? Are you overwhelmed? Anxiety, depression, bored? So, again, what emotion is behind your craving? Let me run through them again so you make sure that you get them. When do my strongest cravings hit? What food do you always reach for? And what emotion is often behind that craving? And let me know, what is your craving time in the chat because that can help me guide you. Or if you're watching this as a replay, drop it in the community. Okay, let's go on to the next section. Really like what your email was about today, this morning, that I want you to work on. Your body needs carbs, it just doesn't need processed ones. It needs healthy carbs. I'm not asking you to completely eliminate sugar because your body and your brain need glucose. Your brain can work on fat and your body can too. But glucose, aka sugar, is really fuel for the brain and muscles. But here's the key. It's quality, timing, and how you pair the foods together. Right? So like a cookie or a brownie by itself is going to spike your blood sugar. Whereas if you choose to eat like a sweet potato with protein and healthy fat, it's going to fuel your cell and stabilize it. So when you're looking at creating your macronutrients, the first thing you kind of want to know is what is your caloric intake? And I'm not asking you to figure that out totally, but I'll tell you, most individuals try to run on 1200 calories, and that's just not okay because here's the deal. If you run on 1200 calories and you end up burning like 1500 calories in a day. No, so so say you are living on 1200 calories, let me do the math, and you burn like 900, you burned like 900 calories, like you're living on nothing, right? So I know for me, I burn 1800 to 2000 calories a day. So you want a calorie deficit, absolutely. So I can run at 1600 calories a day and then I break my macronutrients up that way. And there's all sorts of ways to do it. There's so many apps out there. There's My Fitness Pal, there's Avatar Nutrition. My patients use something, I believe it's called My Plate. So there's all different ways to track it. And I do suggest that you track your food for a couple of weeks until you start to feel really good, right? And then that's going to help you. And we're going to talk about that later. We also have given you in one of the daily emails a diet diary, a nutrition diary. So what are your macronutrient basics that you want to think about? This isn't micro, this is macro. So your macros are your protein that we talked about, right? We mentioned above how much protein you actually need. What is your ideal body weight and that amount of grams in protein? And you can eat like 30 grams less than that, but like you want to be right in that realm. So protein helps you with hormone repair, it helps you build muscle, and it actually creates satiety so that you feel satisfied with what you eat. And that can be any proteins, be animal proteins, beans you want to be careful of because there are carbs in beans that people don't think about. But eggs and animal proteins, like those are all proteins, right? If you're eating protein drinks, really begin to read the label. I should say drinking them. Healthy fats, they're going to help you regulate your hormone and they're going to trigger CCK. We just talked about that above, right? So what are healthy fats? It's going to be like wild salmons, wild halibuts, almonds, walnuts, flax seeds, raw olive oil, chia seeds. Those are all really great healthy fats. Avocados, those are really good quality fats. And I can tell you that most people come in with low HDL cholesterol. HDL is your happy cholesterol. That's what I tell patients. I call it happy. And LDL is your loser cholesterol. Like you don't want that elevated and you want a balance, right? So you want your HDL to be greater than 65. And most people are tanked at like 40. You need those quality, healthy fats. And then your third macronutrient is complex carbohydrates. They stabilize energy and they support serotonin. What's quality complex carbohydrates? All of your veggies, right? And so there's what I call category one, which are all your green veggies. And category two are more like sweet potatoes, squashes, zucchinis, olives, carrots. Those are a little bit sugary, but they're better than eating a cookie, right? And they have really good fiber in them. So we talked about so much today, and I want to wrap up here. And I want to give you 5 changes that you can actually start with today because I want you to be successful. And so I would pick one or two of these and commit to it and either drop it in the chat so that we can help hold you accountable. Because when you drop it in the chat or you write it on paper and you read it, like I have what my goals are right in front of me and I read them 3 or 4 times a day. Stepping into vision and knowing what your goals is and having a habit behind it, that's how you become successful. I'm not asking you to change your whole life. I want to get you into momentum and confidence and know that like I am healthy. I eat well. I eat quality good food. And the more you say that to yourselves and show up like that, it will begin to happen. So I just chose 5 different options and you commit to one or two because all of you that are listening want to make all these changes and then you simply get frustrated. And research shows habit stacking. One of my favorite books is called, or there's 2 of them, Atomic Habits by James Clear, which teaches you how to stack a habit on top of another, or Tiny Habits. Those are great books to read if you're having a challenge in changing your habits. Okay, which we're not going to get into here, but how you become successful is make one to two changes at a time and commit to it. And that's how I work with my patients. Because we just want to get the confidence going and start to minimize those sugar cravings so that you can start to live in a healthier, more vital, happy body that's less inflamed. Number one, I tell all patients this, I do this myself. Eat protein within 60 minutes of waking. That's going to help you stabilize your blood sugar. So again, eat protein within 60 minutes of waking. This is another big one. Drink 20 ounces of water before you drink coffee. Coffee is dehydrating. And your body could be dehydrated often when you wake up in the morning. I personally do lemon water first thing in the morning with a pinch of salt, quality salt. Okay. So that's going to help your hydration before you wake right up and you go to the coffee pot and you start drinking and you start dehydrating even more than you have because you've gone how many hours without drinking any water. And the goal with water is half of your body weight in ounces daily. So if you weigh 120 pounds, drink 60 ounces of water a day. Okay, so we've got eat protein within 60 minutes of waking, drink 20 ounces of water before you drink coffee. Number 3 is add a high fiber carb today, like a quality high fiber carb, like a quinoa, a sweet potato, black beans, something in that category. Okay, so that's a high fiber carb today. Or take a 10-minute walk after one of your meals, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Because we talked about it above, after you eat and you walk and you move, that helps move sugar through your body. Okay, so take a 10-minute walk after dinner. Rate your hunger and cravings on a scale of 1 to 10 every night. Take out your journal, take out your notes. At the end of each night, I journal. How was my day? Who did I need to show up with? How could I have done it differently? And that's when I may choose something like that. The fortunate piece is I don't have hunger and cravings anymore. But I'm going to tell you, it took me a while to get there. It'll take you 2 to 3 weeks if you start to implement this process to stop the cravings. And again, cravings are not normal. You've just been living with them. So let me run through them again. Number 1 was eat protein within 60 minutes of waking. Drink 20 ounces of quality filtered water before you drink your coffee in the morning. Number 3 was eat a high fiber like quinoa, sweet potato, black beans, lentils today or moving forward. Take a 10-minute walk after one of your meals or 2 of your meals. And number 5 is after every night on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 like my cravings were nothing, 10 my cravings were just like crazy 10 plus, right? And drop your commitment in the chat now, own it, or drop it in the community so we can support you. Because the real transformation starts now. You don't need another diet. You don't need more shame. You don't need less confidence in your world. You don't need to chase a short or restrict your way. You get to build your health and rebuild it hormonally, emotionally, and metabolically. And this is how we do it. Again, your food gets to be your medicine. And this week was all about reclaiming your power and confidence that's always inside of you, and you don't need to give up. I'm teaching you to heal, not hustle, like ground your nervous system. You know, discipline and momentum, not deprivation. Because I want you to be able to feel good in your body again and live in a body that you love. And that is the key for me showing up for you. I love doing these challenges because my vision is to heal chronic disease as you begin to understand. Most people don't understand their nutrition. They hear they know they need to stop eating sugar, but they don't know where to start. That's what I'm here for. So tomorrow, please join us live. Yes, it's Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am going to be talking about hormone reset. I'm going to dive deep into the hormone chaos that sugar causes. Why is your cortisol and your adrenaline and insulin causing sleep issues? Right? How to reset your hormones with 3 different lifestyle shifts. I'm encouraging you to always show up with your journal like I do. Bring a friend and really be ready to shift your metabolism at the root. Okay. And those of us that are joining us in the VIP room, once I get off of this call, the VIP room is where people are going to get questions answered. They get specialty, they get me, right? Where they get to ask Q&A and actually ask questions about what's happening for them. You know, I just don't have time during our regular general audience sessions to do that because I have so much to teach. So I always upgrade. So I would suggest that you think about upgrading because you're going to get handouts and you're going to get more time with me. I don't have a lot of time, but when I do, I want to offer it and give it to you, right? So you have the ability to join the VIP room. I would say up until day 3, you're going to get the handouts. These recordings are only going to be available for a short period of time, those of you that are in the general audience, but those of you that are in VIP, you have recordings for life. And you have your specialty sugar community that you actually join, where it's a little bit closer attention from my team. And those of you that are have upgraded the Wellness Accelerator upgrades. So those of you that are in the upgrade room, let's meet you over there. I am sending you so much love. And don't forget to do your little homework because that's going to keep you on track with everything that's going on. I'm sending you guys all so much love and decreased sugar cravings. Enjoy the rest of your day.